Okay, so in this video, I'm going to explain how the guns work, how the buy menu works. Personally, I don't know enough about the economy to let you know how it works. All I know is that it's 200 credits per kill. Very, very similar to CS, but I'm going to mainly focus on the weapons in this video right here. So let's open up the buy menu, which looks like this, okay? So what's really, really neat is that you can buy while moving. So you can move around. This buy menu is always active. So that's super cool. On the left-hand side, it has let's buy, I have extra credits, and let's save. So you could pretty much communicate to your team without a microphone saying like, hey, let's save this round. Let me buy you a weapon, or let's fully buy everything, right? If you hover over a weapon, it has right click, which is want, and that'll notify the team that you want to buy this weapon. Okay, but you can't afford it. On the left-hand side here, it'll show a little emblem with the weapon, and you can click buy. So you could buy it for your team from anywhere on the map during buy phase, right? So that's really, really neat because, I don't know, it keeps it more engaging, more mobile. It's not like Counter-Strike where you're just standing still and everyone's buying and has to communicate in 15 seconds. The 40-second buy phase is fun. Actually, you know, you're strategizing. You have more time to buy each other weapons, think about strategies. It's really, really cool. They have light shields and heavy shields. They both block 50% of damage taken. The heavy shield absorbs 50 damage, and the light shield absorbs 25. I don't like the inconsistency of two different armors. I would much rather have no armor and only heavy shield. That would be my personal preference, but in this current build, this is how it is. I don't know if any of that will change. Maybe it will. Who knows? The reason why I don't like there being two shields is because, let's use the Sheriff, for example. The Sheriff does 160 damage to the head. So that means if they are no shields, it'll one-shot to the head. If they're light shields, it'll one-shot to the head. But if they're heavy shield, it will not one-shot to the head. Now, of course, it depends on the distance as well, because distances are a factor. Some weapons have a fall off. If you look on the right-hand side, the Sheriff does 55 to the body, 160 to the head, 47 to the leg from 0 to 30 meters. And then there's another bar under that, which is 50, 145, 43, but that's 30 to 50 meters. I don't like how much inconsistency is created between all the armors and not knowing how many bullets it will take to kill somebody, depending on what armor they have. You know, it creates a little bit more inconsistency, but you never know. That's subject to change, right? It very well could. Now, talking about the weapons, you get full statistics on every single weapon when you hover over it, which is really, really important when it comes to learning. You could see the damage. You could see the alternative fire, which is your right click. You could see the fire rate. You could see if it's a semi-automatic, a shotgun, whatever, right? Okay, so this pistol, the classic pistol that you spawn with every round, is kind of pretty basic. Doesn't do a lot of damage. 26 body, 78 head, 22 legs, and that's as close as you can get. Magazine count of 12, and doesn't really penetrate walls. It has an alternative fire, which is a 3-round burst. Most guns have an alternative fire, which is a right click, and that right click will change what the gun does. So left click, pretty simple. Standard. Right click. Close range burst. Very, very useful. Can do a lot of damage in one shot. The shorty, 200 credits. Very, very cheap. Most effective close range. It doesn't have an alternative fire. So you want to use this if you're playing a really, really close angle, because it's not going to do very much from far away. As you can see, the spread is really, really huge. So personally, I'm not a fan of this weapon unless my team is saving. So I can just hold a really, really tight angle and pray for one frag, and that's it. Frenzy has no alternative fire. It's a fully automatic pistol. It does a decent bit of damage, so it's very, very good on a save round. 13 bullets in a magazine, so you could kind of spray it like so. Granted, it's very hard to control. Most effective close range, like most pistols are. Reminds me of the CZ in Counter-Strike. Ghost does 105 damage in the head when close range. This gun reminds me of the USP suppressed in Counter-Strike because of how silent it is. It's not very loud. The enemy team cannot really hear where it's coming from, right? When they're getting hit. It has pretty good range when compared to the other pistol. 105 to 30 meters. 88 damage to the head from 30 to 50. That's pretty effective. Now the big boy is the Sheriff. The Sheriff is like the Deagle in Counter-Strike. It'll one-shot headshot most people unless they're too far away or if they have heavy armor, right? If they're too far away and they have heavy armor, it's not going to happen. That's what I was talking about, how I don't really like that mechanic. But, you know, it is what it is. It honestly works exactly like the Deagle in Counter-Strike. The faster you shoot it, the more inaccurate it is. Slower taps is definitely where it's at. It also has a very high wall penetration, so you can shoot through most walls. A good thing to note when it comes to shooting through walls, this game has really, really cool indicators. So, that being said, if the wall has this sort of small hole and white, it kind of has like a white dust effect. You see how it kind of white puff of smoke? That means it's actually going through. So you can actually shoot through that wall, right? This is a perfect example. It's slightly going through. This indicates that it's going through. You know, it's got like these holes, right? Now, if you can't penetrate something, so let's swap to the classic pistol. If you can't penetrate something, it has those orange sparks. So if you ever see these orange sparks, and it looks more like a dent, right? A little dent in the wall. That actually means it is not going through the wall. So you can shoot this bench again. And that means it's going through. You see the white puff of smoke. You see the black little hole. It's going through. These are the SMGs. Shoots really, really fast. 18 rounds a second. Pretty crazy. Very, very quick. It has a zoom alternative fire, which does a 4-round burst. Kind of lowers the spread. It can't really shoot through walls, though. So this is how fast it shoots. Super, super quick, right? But if you right-click it, it's a little bit more controlled. So you could use it more at range. Kind of cool. This is more of like a very light credit gun, you know? Maybe if you know the team doesn't have a lot of money. That being said, when we're talking about money here, you can actually press tab and you could see at the start of every round how much money the enemy team has. You can't see if they spend it or, you know, you can't see if you choose to spend it, but you could see that they have, you know, 3,000, 4,000, whatever, right? Let's go to the Spectre. Another SMG. It shoots a little slower. Has a zoom mode with a slight spread reduction, but it slows the rate of fire. This is my go-to weapon when I'm low on money because it's still really, really good even against armored opponents. And it can shoot through walls, medium walls, the penetration. Pretty easy to control. You can always right-click, makes it more accurate. One thing to note, the difference between right-click and left-click. When you left-click, that's how the recoil control works. It does its own thing, but when you right-click, the crosshair actually goes exactly where the bullet's going. So it looks like this. So it has like this cool little style, right? If you're somebody who prefers controlling recoil by putting your crosshair on the person, right-clicking most guns might be the way of playing for you. Crouching does decrease the recoil. Makes it easier to shoot. The shotguns are interesting in this game. So we have We have Bucky, which is a very, very good shotgun. It's a pump shotgun. Left click is pretty standard. Right click is an air burst, which extends the first shot, so you can use it at a better range. So it looks more like this. That's left click. That's right click. So it kind of lessens the spread. So if you need to do more of a precise shot, right click, left click. So you could do a much tighter spread when you right click the gun. So it's kind of like a versatile weapon. It only costs 900 credits. It's not that bad. The Judge. This is a fully automatic shotgun. The spread gets bigger the more you shoot, right? Personally, this is not really my style. I feel like I kind of suck with it, but I've seen some crazy clips from people playing this weekend and pulling off some crazy plays with this thing. So maybe I just got to give it more of a shot, you know? So now we're moving to the rifles. The Bulldog. Primary fire, fully automatic. Alternative fire, 3-round burst. 116 to the head, medium wall penetration. This is more of like your budget rifle. Still very effective. It won't one-shot to the head. It'll probably two-shot, but still good. Looks like this. And then right-click. I'm not very good with this weapon. I don't know why. Maybe I just don't have enough practice with it. But it's only 2,100 credits, so it's a really, really, really solid budget rifle. The Guardian. Now, this gun is for the aim tap gods. If you think your aim is insane, you get the Guardian, okay? This is a semi-automatic. One shot to the head at almost any distance, okay? 50 meters. There's no way you're going to shoot more than 50 meters. So it's a one tap to the head regardless, right? Crap ton of damage. What's tricky about it is if you shoot it too fast, it gets kind of hard to control. So it's more of like a single tap, hit your headshots. This zooms it in a little bit. Makes it a little easier. The Phantom. This reminds me of the M4 in Counter-Strike. I use Counter-Strike as a reference because I've played it so much. And I'm sure most of you guys know that. So Counter-Strike, M4. Pretty straightforward weapon. Suppressed, a little quieter. Right click slows it down, but it gives it more of a better recoil control. This is my favorite weapon in the game, personally. I love this thing. I don't know what it is. The rate of fire is perfect. The control of the recoil is pretty standard. You know, pretty straightforward. This is what it looks like when I'm not controlling recoil. So yeah, I love this. The spray patterns on this weapon reminds me so much of Counter-Strike. It's crazy. I love it. The Vandal. This Vandal reminds me of the AK in Counter-Strike. It can one-tap headshot most people unless they're wearing heavy shields. The alternative fire is the same as the Phantom. Shoots a little slower, but it increases or decreases your recoil, so it's easier to aim. This is a very good weapon to shoot in bursts. Using it fully automatic is very, very difficult. I like to burst or tap with this weapon, personally. The Marshal. Marshal is like a scout in Counter-Strike. It doesn't one-shot in the body unless they don't have armor. If they don't have armor, it will one-shot in the body. It'll always one-shot in the head, no matter what, armor or not. It has a very, very, very good hip fire. So if you're just shooting with your crosshair, not with your scope, it actually is very, very accurate and actually could shoot a lot faster. So if you want to get more shots in, it shoots pretty fast. And this is what it shoots like when you're scoped. Solid weapon for a good aimer. The Operator. This is your standard big boy sniper. It'll one-shot the body. Definitely one-shot the head. Straight chilling. Pretty standard. 2 zooms. Its wall penetration is insanely high, so you can shoot through just the thickest wall. Like this, easy. This is going through easy. You know, it's coming out the other end. Look at how thick this wall is, you know? Now, this is where the game is a little more interesting. They're trying to incorporate every gun being super, super useful. So this is the heavy class, and these are the LMGs. So this is the Ares. LMGs actually increase in rate of fire over time the more you shoot them. And they have a very, very good multiplier when you're crouched. So they're way more accurate when you're crouched when compared to other weapons. So this is kind of what it looks like not controlling recoil, not crouched. So it starts to pick up in the speed, right? You can also aim it like this. Shoots a little slower, but they're really, really trying to make these weapons useful, LMGs, because they have a lot of high magazine count. They do good damage. They shoot really fast, and their wall penetration is really high. So you can actually shoot through this wall. So that was me crouching. That modifier, when you're crouched, look at how much easier it is. I'm not going to control recoil. When compared to standing up. So these things are really, really good. Stationary, hold crouch, and hold mouse 1. Shoot through walls. You know? And then the Odin. This is a big freaking boy. Okay, this hits hard. This has high magazine count. Has a high wall penetration. This thing is scary if used correctly. This is what it looks like when you're standing. Really, really hard to control, but does a crazy amount of damage. This is what it looks like when you're crouched. You definitely want to be using it when you're crouched. You know what I mean? So you could just sit here and you know somebody's on the other side of this wall and you just go crazy. All of those bullets went through that wall with ease. But yeah, that's pretty much a run through of all the weapons. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is you have to actually buy these abilities right here. So the only ability you don't buy is your ultimate, because you earn that through kills, through deaths, through plants and diffuses, and capture orbs. Those are the ways to get it. Your E, everybody has their E ability. You don't have to buy it. Your Q, you do have to buy. Depending on the class, depending on the character that you play, the price will change, right? If you hold F1, my Q costs 200 credits. My C costs 100. So every character has different price to pay for their abilities. But what I think is really cool about this game is that your abilities are your utility. So they're essentially, when compared to Counter-Strike, they're your smokes and your flashes. But when you die, you do not lose those abilities. So if you were planning on doing a crazy utility strat round 1 and you got obliterated and you didn't even get a chance to use your utility, you still get to keep those abilities for round 2, which creates, honestly, amazing gameplay for both casual and competitive, right? Competitive just means you have more abilities to strat with, even though you might not have used them, which is awesome. Casually, it means you're not getting punished when you die as hard. So even if you bought your abilities and you died and you didn't get to use them, sweet, you still get them next round. So casually, it creates a more fun experience. But yeah, overall, I mean, that's kind of like a brief breakdown of all the weapons that they have. Here's all the prices that you can see for every single weapon. Like I said, I can't really give you a full breakdown of how the money works because I haven't had enough time to play with it and figure it all out. And stuff is always subject to change. They change stuff very, very quick in this game. The balance and everything just might not be there yet. So who knows? but this is how it is right now, and this is what I'm giving you. So hopefully this is helpful to anyone who's watching. Thank you, guys.